Welcome back to Wolf and Friends Gaming. This is our next top 5 Adaptational Badasses. This is a character from a cartoon or other media that was taken and remade as a bona fide warrior for video games. You'll be surprised to see who's on this list. Let's start with our number 5 on this list. Alice, from Alice, Madness Returns, and American McGee's Alice in Wonderland. Now, Alice was not, a fighter in the original story. She just wandered around Wonderland, and even in the Disney cartoon, she seemed kind of helpless and weak. She was very smart, though. I'll give her that. She was so smart that she journeyed around Wonderland and questioned the law and order there. But she was not strong enough to put up with the crazy stuff in Wonderland. And in this video game, Wonderland is trying to kill Alice, and she has to fight if she wants to live. Wonderland instead takes place in Alice's mind, but it's very likely that the mind of Alice is where the story takes place, even in the original film of Disney and other stories. However, that Alice was a bit of a crybaby. She always panicked and feared everything and wasn't used to the madness going on in Wonderland, and so she comes across as kind of this weak and helpless girl in a dark fantasy world. While the Alice in the video game is a very strong, skilled, and a brave fighter, standing up to a lot of the insane monsters like samurai wasps and the Queen of Hearts card guards, making that Alice much more recognizable and loved than the original. Number 4. Rob, the robot operating buddy. However, a lot of people forgot about Rob because it's one of Nintendo's old failures. They tried to hide Rob away because he's only known for carrying 2 games on him that were remembered, and he wasn't that much liked. In fact, I don't even remember what his purpose was. Was he a gaming system? A toy? A best friend you play video games with so you don't feel lonely? Well, either way, in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Rob came back and helped kick a lot of butt and became one of the most memorable players in the game, being very unique since he's actually a system of some sort. And Rob is very good. His final smash is one of the toughest moves, where he shoots an eternal laser beam out of his eyes until the power runs out. But yes, Super Smash Bros. Really saved Rob's reputation and Nintendo's. Number 3. Starscream, the Decepticon, in Transformers War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. This Starscream is a lot more better than any incarnation that has ever existed, and that's saying a lot because he was always so entertaining. However, in the original cartoon, Starscream was kind of a baby who whined about Megatron's poor leadership and kept questioning his orders, not really establishing himself as his own man, kind of. He just complained a lot, but in the video games, he actually fights and demonstrates a very strong, dangerous skill by taking out lots of enemies with his own unique weaponry and powers. Starscream is one of the coolest playable characters in the video game, with his transformation being that of a fast-flying jet, which he can take out enemies with homing missiles. The original one couldn't even shoot straight and kill any Autobots in the cartoon because he was that bad. In fact, it was so bad that in the cartoon, Starscream was basically Megatron's punching bag. He was always made fun of and beaten up, and why Megatron just didn't kill him raised a lot of questions in the show. But yeah, he was very pathetic in cartoons, and sadly, even in other cartoons, he was a bit pathetic, but in the video game, he's very good. His ego is still there, of course, where he brags about himself, but this time he actually has the skill and intelligence to back up his egotistical mind by actually fighting enemies, including Optimus Prime. Number 2. Scarecrow, from Batman. This is the Scarecrow from the Batman Arkham series, which is the most dangerous incarnation and the most memorable one today. This Scarecrow is definitely actually scary. In the cartoon, Scarecrow is just a guy in a terrible Halloween costume who used drugs to install fear into his enemies. Look, he wasn't even that scary in the cartoon. Look at that costume. No wonder he needed drugs to perform fear into people. However, in the video game, Scarecrow is scary and one of Batman's most psychologically dangerous foes, for good reason too, actually. Scarecrow acts as a very challenging boss in the first Arkham game, and you'll very much remember his boss battle out of everything that occurred in the game. This made Scarecrow really stand out in Batman media, considering that a lot of cartoons did him very poorly and downgraded his skills and intelligence and fear, and because, you know, for kids. But Batman Arkham Knight takes us up a notch and actually makes Scarecrow even scarier and the main villain of the game. In fact, rumor has it Arkham Knight was rated M just because Scarecrow was the main villain in it. And they actually play up his very dark villainous side, which makes him more interesting than a lot of Batman's other villains. But this Scarecrow is the most memorable and the most epic. And finally, number 1 on the list. The Simpsons. That's right, The Simpsons. A lot of people have known the cartoon, and those of you who don't, here's the quick version. The Simpsons are basically a family who do stupid stuff and try to get through the episode and destruction they cause by being stupid. In this game, though, their baby, the youngest one, Maggie, is taken because Mr. Smithers has accidentally stolen her while committing a break-in for a jewel for Mr. Burns, because I guess Mr. Burns didn't want to pay for the jewel, I don't know. But the Simpsons take a level of badass and actually fight their way through to rescue baby Maggie from Mr. Burns and Mr. Smithers by going through a lot of dangers in Springfield and including a lot of interesting levels and boss fights. It ends with them fighting Mr. Burns, but of course, since Mr. Burns doesn't recognize Homer, I guess Homer's still in the job. But yes, The Simpsons have actually gone up to an epic scale, and this is one of the funnest arcade games. The Simpsons arcade game, you might want to try it, but it definitely shows off The Simpsons as epic warriors and fighters, considering that their fight goes way up. Here's some honorable mentions that you might have wanted to see, but didn't quite make the list. Aquaman and Mickey Mouse. For Mickey Mouse, he's become epic since Epic Mickey and the Kingdom of Hearts. He would have made the list, but unfortunately we didn't have enough information on him, but we did mention him. And as for Aquaman, he didn't become a real epic warrior until Injustice: Gods Among Us, which is a very fun game and definitely upgraded Aquaman compared to every cartoon version where he just talks to fish. But yeah, they're pretty good and deserve special mention. Oh, also the main 6 from Fighting is Magic. So thank you for watching. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for future top 5s. We hope you enjoyed Wolf and Friends Gaming. Goodbye.